Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. This is the Wrestling Conversation. I'm Brent West, Rodney West. Next to me over here, Jack Lord, a little under the weather, and we hope that he starts feeling better. He has been feeling bad for the last few days, and so we all our prayers go out to him and hope that he starts feeling. He thinks he's got the flu, Rodney.
Oh boy.
Not a good thing to have.
No, it is not.
Top 25 tag teams of all time. Number 24 on my list, the Rockers, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. Rodney, we got to see them. They came to Continental Championship Wrestling. Their stories, the stories are out there. They didn't last very long there, but they were a tremendous tag team. They spent a lot of time working on the craft as a tag team. We watched them so many times in Birmingham, Chattanooga, get there early and work on their being a tag team. What do you think about the Rockers?
Tremendous tag team, no doubt. It would be okay if they would be originals. They've been stealing other people's ideas and making it their own. But other than that, they had pretty good success and very good team as well. Like you said, they got to the arenas early. They worked out a lot of their in-ring stuff, and they were definitely dedicated to what they were doing for sure.
Yeah, and no matter what you got to say, together they were great. And it took Shawn Michaels a long time to be by himself in the singles matches to really get good. I don't know that he got real good until he came back after he lost his smile. At least that's what they said he did. He lost his smile. He lost something. I'm not for sure. It was his smile. All right, Rodney, number 24. Jack will tell us his number 24 next week. Everybody, if you got number 24, let us know.
All right, my number 24 are the Bounty Hunters, Jerry and David Novak.
I didn't get to see much of them. Do you remember a lot about them as growing up?
Yes, they were big in Chattanooga. They drew every time they came to town, along with their manager, Jimmy Kent. Tremendous team. If you want to ever check them out, there's a match with them from Memphis, of course. And then later on during that heyday that I'm talking about, Jimmy Kent and the Bounty Hunters were in Indianapolis at the WWA matches, and just a tremendous team.
I didn't get to see much of them, but I do know I don't remember much. I'm pretty sure I saw them because I believe they did go against Andre the Giant at the Memorial Auditorium one time. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and they were big guys. The Jerry and David Novak were big guys and tremendous team, tremendous tag team.
All right, get your number 24s in live. Get them in live and let us know number 24 of your top 25 tag teams of all time. Last week, we started our tag team. Mine was David Schultz and Dennis Condrey. Rodney's was the Grapplers, Dirty White Boys, Tony Anthony. And from what I've heard, Tony Anthony is going to be at some fan fest in Sevierville, Tennessee, coming up.
All right.
I'm not for sure exactly which one it is. I think the Tennessee stud Ron Fuller will also be there. That's what I have heard. We want to go ahead and tell everybody right now before we forget, before we get into talking about what's going on about the Continental Championship Wrestling Fan Fest coming Saturday, July 2nd, the Crossing at Big Creek. Listen to this lineup, Rodney. Let's listen to this lineup for this show. It's a tremendous. Robert Fuller, Ron Fuller, Roy Lee Welch, Mr. Olympia Jerry Stubbs, Jimmy Golden, Dr. Tom Pritchard, Scott Armstrong, Wildcat Wendell Cooley, Frankie the Thumper Lancaster, Davey and Johnny Rich, Lord Humongous, Mr. USA Tony Atlas, Cowboy Bob Orton Jr., the Russian Nightmare Nikita Koloff, referee Larry Brock. Also, Charlie Platt will be there, the voice of Continental Championship Wrestling and Southeastern Championship Wrestling. Plus, there's going to be an NWA Worlds. I don't guess there's going to be a match for the NWA Worlds, but it's going to be NWA Women's World Championship champion Camilla versus the daughter of Freebird Terry Gordy, Miranda Gordy, which has been on our program. Plus, Fry Daddy will be there. Cyrus the Destroyer. I'm guessing that's Alexandra.
Alexander.
Alexander. Okay.
Yes. Some of these Russians do not know how to spell.
No, they don't. Neil Koloff, the Monster Pain. Brian Brock will be there. I think that's Larry Brock's son. And Sal. How would you say that name? Renero.
Sounds good enough.
There you go. Call at 229-205-6043 for tickets. A great event, the Continental Championship Wrestling Fan Fest, Saturday, July 2nd, the Crossing at Big Creek. To me, it's a great lineup, and I think look at the people you're going to get to see there, Rodney.
No doubt. It's the who's who, especially for a Continental Championship Wrestling fan. That would be definitely a go-to event, must-see event for that particular event coming up in Dothan.
Lord Humongous. This is one of the people that was going to be on this show. Lord Humongous. Jimmy Gold. Deadly. That's what they said. There's Jimmy Golden right there with Louis Delay. Cracking the whip is what they always said. And there we see Mr. Olympia. He will be there as well. And there's we see Boomer Lynch takes advantage of the Hepless Pork Chop Cash. And on the back of this as well, Lord Humongous again. Same exact picture that was on the front there. Get out there if you can, and go ahead and get your tickets. What was that number again? Let's throw that number up one more time so people can, if they want to go get their tickets, they can call this number 229-205-6043. Get out there and see what's happening in Dothan, Alabama. Maybe I haven't said where that was going to be. I think we did Saturday, July 2nd, Dothan, Alabama, the Crossing at Big Creek. Rodney, anything going on in the world of professional wrestling?
Yes. A good friend, Tony Khan, is all upset with Eric Bischoff because he besmirched his boy, CM Punk. Called him, he was a financial failure. And now Tony has had a meltdown. Apparently has now had to make appointments with a psychiatrist. He's going to have a little counseling. He's going to have to sit down on the couch and tell his psychiatrist of how Eric has upset him so bad. And once again, Mr. Khan is too busy worrying about what other people's doing, what other people are saying, instead of worrying about his own product. And that's that's going to be his problem. That's going to be his problem moving forward. He needs to focus on his business and quit worrying about Mr. Bischoff unless Mr. Bischoff's coming in. He needs to quit worrying about Vince McMahon because it's neither one of them that's going to cause his demise. Tony Khan is the master of his own destiny, and his right now could be destined for a long trip to a padded room and a straitjacket.
You know, it's kind of sad when all you see is Tony Khan is really taken up for his company over and over and over again. You know, really, he should be off of television. He should not put himself on television. Let someone else do that. Put somebody else in a position and worry about your.
Well, then if he did that, he would have to shut the whole thing down because it's a vanity project to get his face on TV.
Yeah, that's sadly but true. What happens in all professional wrestling?
Take me off. I would take me off my own show, and I'll shut this thing down.
There's a guy, and I'm not gonna mention his name because it's not that I don't like the guy, but at the same time, I'm kind of wondering what has he ever really done in professional wrestling that was a success. But I won't give his name. But he said that today's wrestling is taped the way it's taped because the wrestling's not is not tight anymore. It's just loose. Well, I don't know, but with 22 cameras, I'm still seeing crappy punches. I'm still seeing crappy kicks, and I'm still seeing a bunch of crap stuff going on in professional wrestling today that makes no sense. Unbelievable. Uh, you would think with 20 something cameras, you could have a better product, but I don't think that's happening.
No, and it has nothing to do with 22 cameras anyway. The fact of the matter is, it has more to do with the way that the show is put on. I mean, the approach, that's the problem. The approach is tongue in cheek. It is not meant to be taken seriously. And when they try to take something seriously, it doesn't come off very well. It's what I've seen in the last few weeks. I have to admit that Raw show last evening was very good. Cody and Seth Rollins, I believe, stole the show. I mean, really stole the show. They sold some tickets to Hell in a Cell this coming Sunday, no doubt. I thought the whole show was outstanding.
I got to show this right here because last week my David Schultz Dennis Gronder was number 25 on our list. So I want to show this a lot of these. This is actually went to Bill. I think his name was Bill Kincaid, wasn't it? Was it the guy's name that was the director?
Yes.
In there. This was actually his copy. I guess we procured that at the end of the day. But as you see, this is actually on November 24th, 1979, program 230. It opened up with a match with Jimmy Golden and Ron Fuller. I guess it could have been Robert Fuller, but I think it was Ron, wasn't it?
Yes, I think so.
Then it went to a match with Jimmy Golden and Carl Fergie. And then it went to the first interview and commercial with Golden and a VTR of Tony Atlas and I guess that was Sterling Golden. I'm guessing that was Hulk Hogan before he was Hulk Hogan. Then we had Dennis Condrey, David Schultz against Terry Orndorff and Sims. Now, he was a spectacular looking wrestler, old Sims was. And then they did K-Town only, VTR, where they're Dick Slater and Sterling Golden is talking. I'm not for sure why that would be. Why would they have? I guess Dick Slater was live, I'm gathering. I'm not for sure. VTR opening for Personality Profile, Schultz and Condrey. Dream match with Andre the Giant. And third match, Pierre Lefebvre and Jerry Roberts. Everybody probably remembers him now as the Mountie, Jacques Rougeau, against the Grappler and the Angel. Was that Lynn Denton?
He was the challenger up there, from what I remember.
But it could have been.
And it might have. No, I believe he was the challenger up there.
Yeah, I think he was too. Second interview with a commercial, Pierre Lefebvre and Jerry Roberts. And then you had a film showing Harley Race. I believe that's what that says. And Dick Slater. And then they added in a VTR of Ernie Ladd and Gerald Finley. And third interview, it ended with Dick Slater. VTR with Ladd and Slater. But that's Southeastern Championship Wrestling. This was their sheet to do the show. I wanted to show that because very interesting stuff back in the day. And one thing I want people to figure out too is inside these, you see it says, these things, it says first interview, second interview, third interview. It doesn't say promo on that anywhere. I don't know when that happened, but even Jimmy Cornette today will talk about promos back in the 1970s, and that ain't what they called it. So I wish he would say
he's trying to relate to today's wrestling fan.
Well, okay.
And I did say fan.
All right, here we go. Rodney, we ready to see what the insiders have got
to say?
Michael is with us. Michael, how you doing? Good evening. David is with us as well. David, he says, good evening, guys. Ready for a great show. Richard Hood is with us as well. Evening, guys, from Wendy Harkins, praying for Jack Lord. Yeah, he's a little sick, but hopefully he'll be back with us next week. Hello, gentlemen, from Dr. Phil Bull Grice. Glenn Allen Shelton is with us as well. Eric Crawford, get better, Jack. Charles Bellflower, his number 24, the Mongols. George Cannon managed them
Yes, when I saw them on, I think it was International Championship Wrestling, they were managed by George Cannon.
when they were in Georgia? Were they managed by him? Or
That I
was it
don't know. Charles would know.
Charles? Was they managed by him or Rock Hunter or somebody else? Who was there managed there with? Mongo's, one of them, people will know as the Masked Superstar and or Demolition Axe. Now, this Mongo's, there were two other Mongo's, and it's I guess it would be according to what year this was, whether or not that was indeed Bill Eadie. Vincent Jeffus. Good evening, all. David Bice. My number 24, Sabu and Rob Van Dam. Hey, did y'all ever watch? Did you ever see them team with each other?
Who, me? I don't think I have.
I don't think I've ever seen them. I guess it was ECW, wasn't it?
Right.
I think what did the Jerry Lawler call it? Extremely crappy wrestling. Glenn Allen Shelton, A Bad Company, number 24.
Paul Diamond, Paul Diamond and Pat Tanaka.
I just couldn't get into them for some reason.
I believe Diamond Dallas Page was their manager.
I believe it was. Number 24, The Nightmares, Ken Wayne and Danny Davis.
Great team.
Oh, yeah, that was tremendous. They were Jack Lord's number 24 25 last week. Mimi Barboza. Good evening. Good evening to you. Hector Alarcon, I believe. Yeah, you say hello. It's been a minute since I watched the show. Thank you so much.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for being a part of the show. Kevin Penley is with us, and he says the British Bulldogs. Davey Boy Smith.
He didn't put British. He maybe meant the American Bulldogs. Have you seen the American Bulldogs?
I don't know that I have.
They were on the South Atlantic Championship Wrestling, George Scott's show. They're on there. Check them out. I doubt that's who he means, but I had to throw that in there. The American Bulldogs.
Kevin Barkwell, Ted and Jerry Oates. You will find that Ted and Jerry Oates is going to be way further down on my list because they did so many innovative things. They were so good as a tag team. They did things that no one else did. To me, they were just tremendous tag team. Ted and Jerry Oates, Rodney, what do you remember about them? I just remember them. Great match with Freebird.
Awesome match. And the thing that just perplexed me is they were never really given a great push in Georgia. And for whatever reason, I think Jerry thought it was, more politics than anything because they're related to and are married to and related to one of the promoters down there. But it's just really just blew my mind that they never really got a good push, and they should have, and they would have drew a lot of money in Georgia, no doubt.
Hector also said that awesome lineup for the Continental Championship Wrestling Fan Fest coming July the 2nd. Debbie Brazil said she's never a patient gal, so she's going to go ahead and let everyone know. Number 2, the Assassins, and number 1, the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, Gene and Ole Anderson. And yes, tremendous wrestlers. A great lineup for that show. Still hoping to make it down there. Mimi Barboza, so exciting. Kevin Penley, what's wrong with Facebook? Are we not coming over good on Facebook? I mean, who knows? Some people must be getting that they're getting back with us. CM Punk is the new AEW World Champion after defeating Adam Page at I guess it was All or Nothing or Nothing and All or whatever that pay-per-view name was. What do you think, Roddy? CM Punk, the new
he should be very happy now. He's got a belt, and some people and probably with a belt comes a pay cut because give him a belt, he might work for free. So you never know. So he's been jockeying for it, and so there you have it. He's the champion, and he should be happy.
I don't know that I can CM Punk can also be his worst enemy as well, because he said something that made no sense to me, because he would never even be in AEW if it wasn't for his time in WWF or WBE, where he said he wasted 10 years in the WWF. But would he actually have ever made it to AEW? Would he be anybody or anything without the WWF?
No, he would not. He would be another one of those guys that would be up there either putting up the ring, uh, or getting 150,000 a year. He would not have made. He would not have been given the money if it wasn't the fact that he was at WWE first, and that's a fact. And that's a fact. And he talks about his wasted time at WWE. They probably feel the same thing about him, that it was a wasted time with him.
I just don't get that. I
don't either. Why? That's what brought him to the dance. Nothing else brought him to the dance. His time at WWE is what gave him the name.
Yeah, it made no sense. It makes no sense. I think it's kind of disrespectful to his own legacy.
Right.
When you think about it, I mean, he really is knocking his own self. Tony Khan is a joke. Can't take any form or criticism about his promotion. Boy, he cannot.
And the thing about it is, he should be listening to it. He should be focused, laser focused on his own product, not everybody else's product. Not WWE talking about how they do their shows. He should be concerned with his own show, not with somebody else's, and certainly not with Eric Bischoff.
No. Tony Khan was more fired up than Tommy Rich Sunday night.
Yeah.
He's going the way of Herb Abrams.
I mean, you have talent problems, which I believe was storyline, by the way, with JBF or whatever his name is, FJB, whatever initial he's got. I think complete total storyline. They didn't want Vince to outdo them on their little storyline with Sasha and Naomi. So they had to have their own, and so they had theirs with the FJB.
Let's see. Hector also said becoming less and less of a fan of AEW. Did they lose some of their fan base when Cody Rhodes left?
Well, I'll just tell you I read another story this past week that there's a lot of them that's at AEW, or some at AEW wants to jump ship after seeing how Vince McMahon produced Cody. I'm not sure of the truth of that, but certainly you have to admit they're doing an excellent job of making Cody a commodity on that show. No doubt about it. And certainly is getting a huge push. And so he's giving Cody at this point he's got the balls in his court. Now he has to run with it. I believe he will. I think he's done an outstanding job. And like I said last night, the brawl, the pull apart between he and Seth Rollins was just outstanding. It was great, and it really sets the stage up for this Sunday night.
Well, now, wasn't it Cody Rhodes the reason the wrestling really became what it was? Because Cody Rhodes left the big WWE, he was going to go out on his own, all or nothing. Wasn't that was the whole deal? Wasn't it Cody Rhodes that spearheaded that whole group of people, that group of fans that wanted to go see something else, something different? Was it he not the one?
Well, I mean, he was certainly one of the founders for sure. And it's strange that he would leave something that he's one of the founding members of. That's something that's very strange. So there's something more to that story, which hopefully we'll find out in months and weeks and weeks to come for sure. Yeah, but it just seems strange that one of your founding members left and went back to where he started it all, really.
Yeah, and where he left from because he was he said he was treated badly and didn't get to do what they wanted to do. But we don't know if that's really true. We heard from JBL in an interview with JBL. He was talking about 2 or 3 wrestlers, at least one, I think was Sami Zayn, was a pain in the butt, and he quit his job as an agent for the WWE because of him, because he questioned everything.
Yeah. I heard that too. I saw that. I saw that he and Kevin Owen both are very difficult to deal with.
Here's the thing I want to ask you about that, because everybody says that they do what they're told. This would not back up basically what that was said. So are the wrestlers actually doing in WWE what they want to do and not really being told what to say? Because truly, if you would have done that back in the 1980s, you would have been fired on the spot if you said, "Well, I don't know about this." So are the wrestlers still running the show? Are they running the show in WWE?
No, because Vince in the end decides what's broadcast and what is not. He decides if you're on or not. Last week, if I'm not mistaken, Theory was booted off the show. I think they said it was due to time, but in the end, Vince McMahon decides what you will see on his show, whether it's through editing, whatever, or he just takes you completely off. So in the end, yeah, Vince is still in command. Make no mistake about it.
But shouldn't they have fired him for doing that?
Well,
Kevin as well.
You would think so. You would think so. Now, just asking why is not an issue, but if it's constant over and over and over again, questioning everything you lay out, yeah. In the end, JBL probably went and said, "Okay, it's either me or them," and so he just decided I don't want to put up with that. And I get what he's talking about. I get what he's talking about, because you don't want to have to sit there and argue, and what should take you 30 minutes to put something together, you end up taking an hour and a half. So you have to sit there and argue and go over and over what needs to be done or what has been laid out to be done. And I get his aggravation. But as far as the wrestlers running that show, no, I don't think so.
I just think I think when he gave him a problem with JBL, I truly believe they should have fired him on the spot.
Yeah, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. But we know that with agents before, I guess you'd call them agents, producers, or whatever, agents in wrestling before, they always gave the agents a hard time. Never the main people, but they always gave. I mean, Bob Roop, they gave him problems when he worked with WCW for a long time. They had to argue. He had to argue with him over and over again. And then Dad would our Dad Ron West would have to fly to whatever town they were, sit down with them and lay out the exact same thing that Bob Roop laid out for them, and had no problems with it all. They're just giving them a hard time. Is what
and shouldn't do, because
they should not.
When Nick Gulas sent Jackie Fargo to Cleveland, Tennessee, because Jackie liked to work Cleveland, Tennessee, and he was the booker. He was the guy that took their book. I can guarantee you, if someone on that card did not do what he said and Jackie Fargo fired him, he would have never been hired again.
That's right. That's right. But that's the difference between being head booker, though, and being an agent, or whatever they call them. That's the difference. It's the same thing. Ole had no trouble with anybody, and when he laid something out, they never questioned it. They just went down it.
Tony Khan needs to put his big boy pants on and deal with the criticism. Learn not to listen to the negativity. You know what? I think he's living online, basically, for sure. I mean, if you're running a wrestling company and you're actually taking some time for your wrestling company, I don't know if you'd have time to listen to all the stuff going on. I don't think Vince McMahon listens to any of it. Tony needs to stay in the background. David, I agree with you entirely. He's not good for his own business. I mean, unfortunately, he's just not. How did Mike Jackson do on the New York City card? Didn't even know he was on a New York City card. Jack probably know more about that. We'll ask him next week.
Sure.
Mike, we always liked Mike Jackson. I always liked him, great wrestler and everything. Sometimes we didn't agree with some of his philosophies, signing autographs. We never liked what's your name? Oh, Joe. Right, Joe down on the deal and said, yeah, it'd be $3. He said, I didn't say I wanted the guy. So I didn't say I wanted a picture. He said, well, you told me what your name was.
Damn, I've damaged this picture now. That was some shady stuff he was pulling.
That was shady stuff, and Austin Idol did the same thing. Both very. I can't. That's the only thing I can't say that I enjoyed with that. And we did say back in 1986, Mike Jackson should be fired for doing such dishonest stuff. Hector, let them try that with Cowboy Bill Watts. Watts would stretch them.
And again, nobody's going to do that to Bill Watts. Nobody's going to do that to Bill Watts because they know who the boss is. They know that Watts will end you.
The AEW media scrums are a joke. They really watch a long party. The Wardlow stuff was tremendous, though. What they did with MJF getting ready for the pay-per-view, I thought that was the best thing they've done since they've been in business. So it was very built up, very good. Gangrel and those kicks, horrible.
Well, he might have learned his kicks from Vince McMahon. It's true. He might have.
Too scripted from David Bice. Yeah,
and it looks too scripted as well.
My 25 was the Fargos. Jackie, Don, Roughhouse, Fargo, all the three. Hector, wow.
I still remember to this day.
Rick Brooks. Brooks is with us. Hello, guys and everyone. My number 24. Buzz Sawyer, Matt Bourne, tremendous wrestlers. They wasn't a tag team long enough in Georgia. I always thought they were bad guys. I thought they were heels in North Carolina, and found out years later, no, they wasn't. But I heard they were over there. They were over. Well, my number 24 is the fabulous Rougeau brothers. I loved
the All-American boys.
Yes, tremendous wrestlers too. Tremendous. Marty's number 24, Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood. Hector said Jim Cornette is the man. I don't disagree that Jim Cornette is the man. We don't disagree. We agree with most everything that Jim Cornette says. But when he talks about the 70s and 80s, and he says promos, they didn't use the word promo back then. It was interviews. You would be there Wednesday for interviews. All right, Wednesday for interviews. There was not. I don't know if I have one here that would say, because they didn't do the interviews every Wednesday, but on the booking sheet it never said TV. Be there for your promos. It just never was said. So the only problem I have with Jim Cornette is when he talks about the 70s and 80s and using, well, we did our promos. No, you did interviews, Jimmy. You did not do promos because they didn't use
the promos back then were the fonts as it would come down. It would be like Gordon Soley or Freddie Miller going down, this Friday night in Atlanta at the Atlanta City Auditorium, the main event for the Georgia Heavyweight Championship. Mr. Wrestling number 2 faces the Masked Superstar of the Georgia Tag Team Championship. On the line as Ole and Gene Anderson defend the titles against Tommy Rich and Chief William McDaniels. Tickets are on sale now at the Atlanta City Auditorium box office and at the Sports Arena this Friday night, Atlanta City Auditorium. That is a promo.
Yeah, that was the promos. But those were interviews. And that's the only thing, Hector, that I have a problem with Jim Cornette. Most everything else, I agree with him. I just wish he would, when he's talking about it, he would not call the things promos back in the 70s. Now, once he gets to WWE and they think they're not the wrestling business, that's one thing. But he's calling those, and that just wasn't. It's not true. Get well soon, Jack. From Michael. Yes, Jerry Craig. Any attack combo with a Masked Superstar?
That's right. Superstar, Super Destroyer. Hey, I have to admit, the Superstar, Super Destroyer thing they did in Georgia was great. It was just awesome.
Let's see. Kevin Penley said, where would you rank Hulk Hogan with any partner that would turn on? Did he ever have a partner that didn't turn on him?
Not that I know of. We have Randy Savage.
Paul Orndorff, right?
Paul Orndorff. They all did. They all did it.
I'm just thinking nobody liked Hulk Hogan. I think that was this stuff.
No, they knew if they wanted to have the big money, they have to work against Hogan. That's how they do it.
Yeah. So
I mean, and you get that right. I mean, Ted DiBiase wanted to turn because he wanted to be on the main event. And as long as Junkyard Dog was in the main event, the only way you got to be in the main event if you was against him. So DiBiase had the right idea.
Nikolai Volkov was a Mongol as well, also. You pronounced it right.
All right. we hit one every once in a while.
Yeah. Mako, so I think Tony may have more than just AEW problems. Seems doped up.
Wow.
Just my opinion. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I kind of wonder myself. Yeah, I kind of wonder myself sometimes when he's talking. He just doesn't seem right. The Destroyers, the Super Destroyers.
Long Riders, great team. Yeah, the Irwins are great. Just awesome.
Good guys, too. Good guys. My number 24, the Samoan SWAT team. Hey, is that the Samoan SWAT team with Buddy Roberts as the manager? Or Paul, wasn't it Paul Heyman? Paul
Dangerously, yeah.
Was also the manager of them.
Yep. Sabu and Fatu, wasn't it?
I think so. I mean, they were good, too. They were good.
Awesome.
They just never got that push that they should have got.
Oh.
Hector, I think we've already met. My number 24 is the fabulous Rougeau brothers.
The Rougeau brothers.
How you doing, Kirk? Good evening, guys.
Kirk.
Just tuning in. Kirk, one of our supporters that has supported us for over a year.
Wow.
He supported us for a year. Thank you so much. Did you guys say my top 25?
Well, sorry about that. We did not. Sorry about
that. No, I'm sorry. Get well, Jack, Terry Funk, and the Great Muda. A good tag team from Dennis Mitchell.
Yeah.
Sean Smith. Pay-per-view should have been called nothing or nothing.
Do tell, Sean. Do tell.
Let me ask you all this question because I read a story today that said that Jeff Hardy did not participate. Did he not participate in the in this pay-per-view, or is he not going to participate in Dynamite? They say he's all beat up. I wonder why. Since he's been there, he's come off the top of a building. He's done all this stuff. He's almost a 45, almost 50-year-old man. He shouldn't be doing that stuff to begin with.
Wow. Well, I just saw a headline saying Jeff Hardy was a mess at the last pay-per-view or whatever they were calling it, out in and out or whatever it was.
Well, he actually can't even walk.
Oh, wow.
I mean, look what they've made him do. Look at the match. CM Punk reminds me of a bitter ex-girlfriend. He's gotten over the breakup. To me, he sucks. He is a little bit that way. He really comes over that way. Very proud I was named in the acknowledgments of the new book on the original Sheik, especially since I grew up watching his promotion and seeing him from Cincinnati many times. We are going to get with ECW Press. They have asked us to talk about that book and read it.
Review it.
And we are going to do that. I just haven't had time to get with them. I hope Ric Flair wrestles Terry Ardori Jr. in his last match. It is sold out. That show is already sold out. I think the only way you can watch it now is on pay-per-view. Ric Flair is a legend. And I think they'll come up with some good stuff to make it really work for Flair. Cody signed with WWF to get matches with The Miz. That's a step. Poor old Miz. He's a hard wrestler. He's a hard worker. Miz is. They just have used him horribly throughout the years. This is a comic.
Let me say about the Miz and what I've noticed, and I've grown to respect. No matter what his task is, he does it perfectly.
Yeah,
and he puts 100% into it every time I've seen him, and no matter what position they put him in, he always gives 100%, and you have to respect that.
Yes, you do. Who was your favorite Tommy Rich tag team partner? Mine was the Crusher. Mine is going to be Rick Martel. Rodney?
I think I like Tony Atlas. Tony Atlas and Tommy Rich. TNT.
Yeah, TNT.
T for Tony, T for Tennessee, T for Tommy.
Yeah, it was good. That was a good deal.
Well, Wahoo and Tommy was a good team too.
Yeah, that didn't work though when they jumped Wahoo in the parking lot.
Oh,
Uh,
that was too soon. It was too soon after the Dusty thing. That's what the problem was.
Mako said, "It's too bad Cornette is a moron on most things, not wrestling. No self awareness whatsoever to go with his crude, rude, and arrogant." Yeah, he says some things. I mean, to me, stick with the wrestling, and most things. I would say 99% of what Jim Cornette says about pro wrestling, I agree with. It's just the promo thing that he says that I kind of get upset with because they wasn't called that. That's just if you're gonna be real about what you're doing and know what you're talking about wrestling, you've got to know that they now they might have called them that, but the office did. I'll just tell you, office did not call it. Let's see. Newton Tetri was Guido, and Bill Eadie was Bolo. Mongo's managed by Boris Malenko.
Yeah.
He said he never saw them in Georgia, only on Mid-Atlantic TV early mid-70s. I think they worked for Angunkel, didn't they?
I believe you're right.
I believe they did. Now I'm not for sure. I don't know if Boris Malenko was there at the time. I just remember them. They did come in there and work for them. I think come from Carolinas to there. I could be
And it's
wrong.
funny. It's funny. Boris Malenko was the Superstars manager when he first started as well.
Yeah. Do you believe that Cody this time will he get the push he did the first time? Yes. Bishop Michael Nesby. Yes, I think he's going to get a major push. Rodney, don't you think he's getting it?
I think he's already gotten bigger push than he had before, for sure.
And he told me he wanted to be Cody Rhodes. He didn't want to be Starman or whatever. He didn't want to do any of that stuff.
I think he's right. I think he believes in this, and you can tell he believes in this. And of course, what sets the whole thing off is the gigantic hickey on his neck, which sets the whole ensemble off.
Sean Smith, while other promotions advertise outside a wrestling event is not new. C had a digital advertising truck with Cody on it outside the 80 pay-per-views.
I did see that.
Kevin Penley, what have you heard about Big E's status? Have you heard anything, Rod?
The last I heard that he was, I read a story. We don't have any inside knowledge, but from what I heard in a report that he is out of the neck brace, which is good news.
All right, Christopher Hughes. Sorry I'm late. See, Jack's not here, so he cannot give you a fine. So you're fine. Sorry I'm late, guys. Just off work. Hope y'all are having.
We're just glad you're here, Christopher.
Yes, I did hear this, Sean Smith, that Jeff Jarrett was hired as WWE's new vice president of live events. And since they only do about 20 a year, that'll be fine for them. They don't do a lot of live events anymore, do they?
I'm not sure.
Would that also be a part of I mean, does anybody know what this job entails? Because I thought he was there and left. I'm guessing he came back when other people have left. I'm not for sure, but I did hear about that. Let's see. Keep the Vaseline away from me.
Well, Mako, I'm going to have to. What are you trying to say? What is it that you're trying to tell us?
Ric Flair versus Sting one more time for Mickey Mayfield. I think Ricky Steamboat told him he wouldn't do it. He wanted to be remembered for his last match that he had with. I can't remember. It was on Raw, or maybe SmackDown. One of those two. Should the Road Warriors have been fired for refusing to drop the AWA tag belts to the Fabs and waiting until they were in the ring to tell them? Yes, I would have fired. I would have fired anybody that refused to do it.
Yeah, anybody who messed up my show, yeah, they're done. They would have to worry about it. They can just whatever they wanted to do that. But when they come out of that room, those belts would come in my hands, and they would no longer work and wouldn't got paid for that evening.
Either. We talked about last week. That somebody asked us, will you be promoting any wrestling shows? And we told people no, we will not be. Because we know we would fire people in no time flat. We have nobody work with us because nobody wants to listen to you. Back then, I don't know what the situation was with the Fabulous Ones. I think Steve Keirn and Stan Lane could have been very hard to deal with. Steve Keirn, especially, and even though the Road Warriors are big old guys, I don't know that I wanted to mess with Steve Keirn because he was trained by Eddie Graham, so he pretty well knew what to do. But uh, you'd have to be there, I guess, and know what the situation was. Because I think if I was Hulk Hogan, when they asked me to put Ultimate Warrior over, I believe I would have told them no. I would have said no. I'm not passing the torch to Ultimate Warrior. I just didn't think it was the guy to pass the torch to as well. Anyway, I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Rodney?
No, if you have agreed to work with somebody, work for somebody, you don't cause any trouble. If you've agreed to do something, you do it. If you've agreed to a job or you agreed to wrestle there, you come on their terms, and that's just the way I feel about it.
My number two, Ole and Gene Anderson from Richard Hood. Bishop Michael Nesby. Tony is becoming the modern day Eric Bishop. He is doing the same things that Eric Bischoff did, unfortunately.
Walking right into the same trap, if you will. Walking right in that on the same path. There's no doubt, Bishop.
Where he made the mistake, I think where Tony Khan made the mistake is bringing in wrestlers, giving them $2 million a year, $3 million a year.
Wait. The mistake was he told people he gave that to them.
That's true.
That's because he's out. I don't know what he's out trying to. I don't know. Look at me. I've got money, and then it ends up alienating the other people on his roster. Why would you even let that out? And he's not a publicly owned company, so it didn't have to be out there. I guess they were trying to get headlines. Maybe it makes no sense to me, but you don't tell the inner workings of your business ever.
We were told one time, and I won't say who told us, but Jerry Lawler, Lance Russell, were having a big party at Jerry Jarrett's house. So they all drive to Jerry Jarrett's new house in I believe Hendersonville, Tennessee. And they all got there and they was having a big party there. Everybody was sitting together going, huh. They're looking around this big old house, maybe 8,000 square feet house, and going, huh. And we got paid $300 for Memphis the other night. Well, we know where that money went to. And so they said that was the reason that Lance Russell, Jerry Lawler wanted to run their own wrestling show. They were either going to get a piece of the pie or they were going to go off. You don't bring people and let them see what you're making.
His mistake, he flaunted it.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have. He should have just, if he's going to do a party, he should have, rented the arena, done it after a match or something. So,
yeah, that's my number 24 is the Fabulous Ones. Steve Keirn and Stan Lane over big time in Memphis. Oh, yes. Man. Yes. I don't know that they got over anywhere else, but Memphis, they were.
Well, I was watching some of the stuff from the AWA, and they had a pretty good response. I haven't seen their entire time there, but I watched the angle they did with Sheik Agnon El Casey, Bruiser Brody Abdullah, and Crusher Blackwell, and the Fabs were there with Dusty. In fact, at in St. Paul, I believe, where it took place, and they got really good response. Really good response.
Sawyer Bourne were world class first the World Tag Team Champions. I did not realize that, Daniel. I did. Todd Vanderpool said that Gordon Soley impersonation was fantastic.
We could do him good.
Said Rodney forgot to be there.
I did. I forgot to be. I was getting in and I got out of it too quick.
Rodney, you forgot to say, like Freddie, be there.
That's right. That was great. And Freddie, when he could do those, with no effort whatsoever. He could read that. He could read those matches off, and he could do the rundown of the TV show. They would do it when the opening on some that one year he was doing it during the opening of who's going to be on the show that day, and he would do it with no effort whatsoever. That's just how good Freddie was.
Yeah, Freddie was tremendous, and a tremendous man, funny man. Last week, my number 50 was Randy and Bill Mulkey.
That's
My
right.
49 this week is
Thunderfoot 1 and 2.
Yes. Michael, my number 1, the Midnight Express. Hillbilly Jim never turned on Hogan, right?
That's right. There's some of them that wasn't worth turning on.
But you got to remember, don't go messing with a country boy. Don't go messing with a country.
Uncle Elmer.
I don't know they're going to get Uncle Elmer or Hillbilly Jim's not going to get my top.
You don't think that's not going to be a top 10 for you, eh?
No.
All right.
Hello, all. My number 24, I think, is Jesse the Body Ventura and Adrian Adonis.
Big time up in AWA. Just
that's
huge.
Victor Nash, by the way.
Yeah.
Beefcake never turned on Hogan. They were billed as brothers early in their careers. Yeah,
that's correct.
On our Facebook page a few times, we've sent some stuff. We've had some photographs of them in the early 1990s in the WWF. They had a lot of NWA, WCCW, and AWI's job out to WWA guys like Paz Watley, Jim Brunzell, Black Bart, Playboy Buddy Rose were showcased as punching bags. What are your thoughts on that era in the WWF? They could have done more stuff with Paz Watley, and I don't understand why. Jim Brunzell still had the ability. But Vince didn't know who they were. Vince never watched the wrestling program.
That is correct. That's what we heard. He never watched anybody else's wrestling program. Now, Pat Patterson and Terry Garvin watched the other shows, but Vince did not watch anybody else's show.
And, a lot of people, Howard Finkel knew everything, everybody in the pro wrestling. He even called Continental Championship Wrestling, and he would talk to our father, actually try to get him to come in at one point. And he told him no. And I think he was told, well, if you don't come in now, you'll never be able to.
And that was the way it was.
Yes. Yeah. That was
we got to, they got to do some local promoting down the road. But yeah, no permanent job. They did what they promised.
He won't be on Dynamite and Adam Cole. Do we know why Adam Cole, Victor? Except for maybe he's down to 102 pounds now. He has lost weight since he's worked
and
there.
Apparently Mysterio has gained some.
Well, whatever
I noticed that. Yes, Mysterio has gained some. I noticed.
Tommy Rich, Dan Hansen. They were a good tag team. Mako, number 24, and won the tag team titles in their debut as a tag team. And one of the wrestlers in the team was making his pro debut at WrestleMania 8, Strowman, and the 10-year-olds from ringside.
He's on a roll tonight. I tell you.
Whoa, man, I've just turned myself off. I'm still there, ain't I? Okay. Christopher Hughes, Rick wrestled Chris Jericho in his life. Oh, okay. All right, Rick. I can remember that match was pretty good. I do remember the match. Jericho is who faced him. I believe you're right. I believe that's what it is. And they had a great match. Pierre Mad Dog Lefevre was a tag specialist. Yes. Then we've got old Ben Masters himself. Did y'all hear W changed their Money in the Bank venue from the larger, what does that say?
Allegiant,
stadium to the smaller MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas due to poor ticket sales. I think I did hear that, but I also think that they were afraid of rain, wasn't they?
I'm not sure that I don't know, and I'm not sure if that arena's not indoor, but I'm not quite sure about that.
It probably is. I mean, I don't know how anybody it pays for any of those tickets to those shows.
Yeah,
I just really don't. I'm glad I'm here to Rodney. I look forward to it every week, just like I'm 10 again in 1982, waiting on Championship Wrestling from Florida to come on Saturday afternoon. There was no better deal to that. Who's late? Christopher again, dropping count out 20. Come on, man. Who's better? Vince Russo or Tony Khan. I believe they run neck and neck a tie. I don't understand this.
Who thinks they're better, Vince Russo, or maybe that's what the real question was? Who thinks they're better, Vince Russo or Tony Khan? Again, a tie.
What was I say? When the Crusher joined the Founds and dressed like them with a cigar, they were completely over.
Yeah, that I did notice that from rewatching the stuff from AWA that they were getting over up there. Now Florida not so much, but certainly up there tremendous.
I miss Saturday night. Well, I think Steve Kern had been from Florida, so I don't know that they thought of him as a fabulous one. I miss Saturday night. Superstars of wrestling: Joe Pedicino and Bonnie Blackstone.
How many hours was that, Mickey? Was it 6? I believe it was 6 hours, something like that.
I believe Triple H held the live event title at one time. I believe it has to do with the renting of the venue, show operation, etc. I'd also think that includes pay-per-view and house shows. Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know what it actually consisted of. Pez Watley and Coco Beware could have been a great tag team. Yes,
Yes.
Pez Watley was too good to just be jobbing him out. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have to ask, did you like Pez Watley? I thought Shaska. I thought Shaska was the just so much energy, so much personality, just awesome.
Shaska Sean Smith said Jericho and gang look like the Village People tribute show. On one of the shows and I just watched a piece of this, but Chris Jericho threw a fireball at somebody, like at I don't know, somebody in the back. I don't even know if there was a wrestler. I just saw the clip of it. I'm thinking, why would you do that? Well, I mean, this poor guy, who cares?
Well, maybe he needed his cigar lit.
I guess so. I remember when we first got cable in 1983 and Georgia Championship Wrestling on, I would hear Freddie run down the cards coming to our area. I thought it was the coolest thing. It was his gimmick. Yeah. And that, my friends, was what they called a promo. So, and the territory days. I'm not saying newer wrestling. I'm not for sure what they call it. And at this point, who cares what they call it? It's horrible stuff. 6 hours, Mickey Mayfield.
6 hours. Wow.
Eddie Kingston poured gas on Jericho. Was too bad he didn't just throw him up in flames. He is horrible now. Chris Jericho's horrible. Shashka and Conway dancing in their outfits was hilarious.
Shasta Watley.
Rodney, anything we need to talk to? Oh, is Rodney a wizard too? Wait a minute now. I do remember him saying that, but it was very quick. It was maybe a minute. It was just a clip on YouTube. And I do remember at the end of it, he said something about being a wizard. Somebody being a wizard. See that? You burn somebody, try to make it, and then you make a joke out of it. I mean, what? Now, nobody's going to care if you burn somebody. They ain't going to care. No. They're going to laugh about it. It's ridiculous. All right, Rodney, anything we need to talk about before we leave?
Let me see. No, I think we've got everything. Like I said, I thought Raw was outstanding this past weekend, last night. And other than that, that's all I have.
Michael.
Oh, hey, Michael.
You have just got here.
Hey, give us number 24 in your list tonight.
Yeah,
we're doing number 24 in the top tag teams.
And then we're going to get off of here, and we will see everybody next week. We're going to go through. We'll do that. We'll do the 24. We talk about a little bit about Georgia Championship Wrestling. I think he said, here's 1980. Here's a booking sheet from 1980 for Georgia Championship Wrestling. And I see at this point in time, our father was still refereeing then, wasn't he? He's on the booking sheet. There you see Columbus TV. You would do Atlanta, and then you do Columbus TV. Then you go to Griffin. And then you go to Carrollton. Some of the people to go to Carrollton. And then there you see Atlanta at the Omni. There's the card. The main event was going to be Koloff and Smirnoff with Rock Hunter against Ole and Lars Anderson. I don't believe that was the greatest Omnis crowds of all time. I don't think they were setting the world on fire at this point in time. Eddie Gilbert.
Now, if that was when Koloff and Smirnoff was against Tony Atlas and Kevin Sullivan, that they could really go.
I think that was after I think this was after they had their run, I believe.
Tremendous. You have to You have to just got here. Jerry Lawler said fireballs, and Kevin Sullivan sold fireballs. So they threw fireballs, I think. It's Jerry Lawler was fireballs and Kevin Sullivan. Also did spitballs. That's a different situation,
though. Christopher Hughes, he said Vince Russo's an idiot. He's hurt pro wrestling way more than he ever did for it. If I could, I would Will Smith him. I'm sorry, but he's commentary Jerry Black. Boy, Jerry Blackwell was good. Big old guy, and he could do it.
Yeah.
There's Michael Bars. Number 23, the Texas Outlaws, Glenn Allen Shelton. And Sean Smith says Lars is the lost
Anderson. He's the turncoat. Lars was a turncoat.
Do you know in The Rock, the series The Young Rock, Lars Anderson does not even exist in the whole series. He was instrumental in many things there. Many things. But the guy that they're talking about, I don't think he even existed. I think that's the guy that he's just some little old guy that is her lackey or something. And but Lars Anderson's never even talked about on there. But I'll tell you what does happen. The wrong cards. They have Ricky Steamboat. They have Randy Savage wrestling on these things, and they was not even in the territory. They was nowhere near. At the same time, now it wasn't. I mean, they're not telling you, hey, by the way, this is all real stuff.
Biographical, yeah.
Dick Dunn, the Wrestling Pro, but cannot remember who they wrestled as. Been too many years. I think they was just Dick Dunn and then Wrestling Pro. I believe they. But they both.
He said they both had masks on.
Huh. There you go.
Maybe the Wrestling Pro and the Super Pro.
That they did have the Super Olympia, so it probably was a Super Pro. Didn't Randy Rose wrestle as a Super Pro?
He did.
All right, Rodney, we need to try to finish our show up here, and but we'll see everybody next week right here. Have your number 23 ready, and we'll go through some other programs and stuff, and we'll look through some stuff as we're talking all that. Von Brauners, Don Garner.
Oh, yeah, those Von Brauners. Yeah, big time.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a part of Pro Wrestling Inside Now. We'll see everybody next week as we continue our look at pro wrestling. And who can we knock next week? We'll find out. I'm pretty sure Tony Khan will probably be on the list of people that we may not talk well about.
No, he will have to take most of the time of his show to critique the Hell in the Cell.
We'll see you next week right here on Pro Wrestling Inside Now.